This is
Up
for Grabs, a podcast where three unfiltered friends talk about anything and everything. And now, here are your hosts, Tracy, Kim, and Rachel.
Welcome to Up for Grabs. I'm Rachel. I'm here with my two very good friends, Tracy.
Hello.
And Kim.
Hello.
And today on Up for Grabs, we're going to talk about diets, exercise, healthy living, body positivity, or negativity in my case.
Yes. Body image.
Body image. And just kind of how our journeys through different diets and health plans have changed.
And diet culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Over the years, and maybe we can share some things that work for us and things that don't, because I think most things don't.
No, most things don't, because most people don't have the patience to know that it's not a race, that it's slow
Right.
and steady.
But it's not-
and that's hard.
I was going to say, because that's not fun.
No, that's
No.
hard. So
I really have spent most of my life waiting for there to be some sort of magic cure.
Yes. I can't believe I was looking and trying to come up, like, you know, when we came up with this topic a few days ago or whatever, I can't believe we've done 3 seasons, or we're in our 3rd season, and this topic hasn't
because it's not fun
been
to talk about.
Well, it's not fun to talk about, but I was laughing as I was like thinking about it, because I'm 53, and when I say weight has been an issue my entire life, I was a preemie. I was 4 pounds and like 8 ounces or something. I don't know, in an incubator for a month. And like, it was like a big deal to be a preemie back then, different than now. But like, even at birth, weight was something that was part of my life.
Yeah.
That was an underweight issue, and that's not been my ongoing problem. But I was like, when I say that it's been my whole life, it literally
your whole
has
life.
been like since day one.
Yeah.
I was trying to think, like, what was my earliest memory of just kind of feeling like I needed to either lose weight, or I was conscious of how I looked. And it's sad to say that I think I was like in 4th or 5th grade, and my mom, I remember like over the summer, my mom might have bought some Dexatrim.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And my sister and I knew where she kept it. It was up with the vitamins, you know, with all the other good things for you.
Yes.
And without asking her, without telling her, she and I would take the Dexatrim
Everyone
in the morning.
did. Yes.
Why was I doing that when I was 10 years old?
Because you had no idea that it was full of speedballs.
And I asked some people that I know that are our age or a little bit older, and I'm like, you know, give me some talking points for weight and, you know,
Yeah.
all this. And they were like, everyone in the 80s took speed, and that's how they lost weight. And like you said, the Dexatrim, I can't, you know, how many empty packets did I see in people's purses, or, you know, in drawers when you go to a friend's house?
What about the
what you
laxatives
did.
that look like chocolate bars? Because
Yes.
one of my friends' moms had it and kept it in her refrigerator, and I remember asking. I thought it was a candy bar. Asking my friend, I'm like, oh my, you know, I thought it was curious that they kept chocolate in the refrigerator, which that's a normal thing because it keeps it better. And she's
Right.
like, oh, that's my mom's diet stuff, and I'm like,
Yum.
What?
and then and I was like, and they were laxatives.
Yeah.
I mean, and so that was like early grade school, you know, like
Yes.
probably 4th, 5th grade. And that was my first, like, well, that's weird. And then I had another friend that's mom did hypnosis. That was very popular in the 80s for weight loss.
Okay.
And she did hypnosis, and I'll say who it is off the
Out there?
record here in a little
Yeah.
bit. But thinking, oh, like, you know, that Dexatrim I wasn't very familiar. I mean, I know what it is, but my mom never took it. So I wasn't familiar with that, but I was familiar with like laxatives.
Right. And I just remember thinking that that's just like, that it was really necessary for me as a 5th grader to take this Dexatrim. And I didn't even know how much I weighed. Like, I don't even,
Yeah.
I had
and when you
nothing.
say 5th grade, that's probably when I first started noticing that I wasn't necessarily skinny. Now, in my mind, in my memory, I was much bigger than I was when I look back at photos. I was like, what on earth? And like, okay, so like my dad called me and my younger sister, the Chubbers is how he would refer to us, and
that's
lovingly, but it didn't seem mean. Like, oh, the Chubbers are going here or there. Like, it was just something that was said. But then you you internalize it, obviously.
That is,
but,
I mean, I'm not saying
you don't
that's an
think that-
abusive thing to
No,
say,
no.
because it's not, but it is internalized in a
It is.
certain way. And
But
I
you
think
don't
that
think
was
about
kind
it.
of the norm.
Yeah, I was going to say, our parents did not think about it the way we
Yeah.
did. And, I go back and forth on whether or not you help a child, pointing out the weight issues or whatever. I'm on this Grown and Flown parents page on Facebook. I don't know. And almost every week someone says, my daughter's 22 and she's gained 50 pounds. And what should I say to make her, to help her or
such
whatever?
a slippery
and
slope.
Everyone says, you don't say anything. She knows. She has a mirror. Like, that's always the advice is mind your business. She knows what's happening. But as a parent, you're kind of like, how do I help? What do I do to help? Or, and then if you're overweight yourself, you're like, well, pot, kettle, what are you going to say to that person about,
Right.
doing it differently?
Right.
So it's such a sensitive topic, but I was saying with you guys, like, diet culture, I was looking at it through the years, and at least the past 50 years, because that's my lifetime. And that's where the instant food, the fast food, like, culture set us up to have this issue that we have now.
Absolutely.
And
The convenience of it all.
the convenience of it all. So I was thinking back to like Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
Or Oprah and her wagon of fat. Like, these are things, which is hilarious that she pulled out a literal wagon of fat to show how much weight she lost. Gross.
And nobody really knew she was starving herself.
No. And everyone applauded and said,
Yeah.
that's so
Good
awesome.
for you.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I remembered when I was thinking, about back in the day, I didn't try this, but do you remember what Richard Simmons's thing was called? His plan.
Oh.
well, I remember Sweating to the Oldies, but that's not what you mean.
I know.
I don't. Oh, it's going to be like,
You'll know it when you hear it, because when
remember.
it's the one I didn't do it, but I thought it was hilarious.
I probably did it. I'm so
Okay,
scared.
you ready?
Yeah.
Deal a meal.
Oh, deal a meal. Yes. And there were like cards, and you could have certain things.
You can have so many, and it's pretty much probably the same stuff a dietitian will tell you today. But
Yeah.
Richard
Yes.
made it a fun game.
Of course he did. I loved Richard.
Yeah.
I watched his show, his magic oven, where he'd put it in the top oven and then it would be already done in the bottom oven.
And he seemed like he was promoting a fairly kind of normal way to be healthy. Maybe the deal meal wasn't, but I mean, he promoted, hey, be active.
Yeah.
Work out. He was extremely overweight and it looked like he lost weight the right way. That kind of thing.
Is he
Who
still
knows?
alive?
He is still alive. He's a recluse.
He's a recluse.
What
And I mean,
happened
he's
to him?
open about it. I think
Something
fame
to do with
destroyed
his
him.
fame, and then his housekeeper. Like, so, I don't know. There was
His
an issue.
housekeeper?
like she.
There were rumors that she was keeping him kept.
Yes, like hidden. I don't know. Bless his heart. That's all I
that
got
deal
on
a
that.
meal. That got dark.
I know it went dark fast, but
sorry.
So there's that. There's
What's the one that it pre-makes all of the food and they send it to you? The
Nutrisystem.
Thank you. Is that Marie Osmond?
she was, I think, that for a while.
She was that for a while, but I think her latest is Weight Watchers. She may have even done Jenny Craig, and that recently they went under. So Jenny Craig, because there's one right over by my house, like in the same complex as like PetSmart and stuff.
yeah.
But that they finally closed shop. So I think Nutrisystem. I still see the commercials, so it still exists.
So it's like the boxed food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Weight Watchers just rebranded, I think.
Yeah, when Oprah kind of took
bought
over,
it or something.
bought like a percentage of the shares.
I don't know. But it's just such a huge part of everyone's life, and yet where are the answers that we've been looking for all these years? I was laughing thinking about those stupid lean cuisines. How many of those did I buy and eat 2 at a time? Because, yes,
Because they don't
of
fill
course
you
it's-
up.
Of course, it's 200 calories. There are 6 bites of pasta, angel
Yeah.
hair pasta. That's it. That's all that's
Yeah.
in there, with a tablespoon of sauce. So I paid
Yum.
extra for it to say lean cuisine. I ate one, and I'm like, well, I'm not full. I'm eating another.
Yeah.
So that was effective.
But I did I don't still buy lean cuisine, but I remember back, those were fun to be able to take like to work for lunch. Like if you had a microwave at work, because it was just
In the little box.
Yeah,
They
because
were
it was
good.
already frozen.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
didn't have to do anything other than put the box in a bag.
Correct. And
I
again,
could do that.
That was when we were coming up, that those things, those convenient foods,
Yeah,
microwave.
that exploded. Yeah,
I mean-
when we got our microwave.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I was thinking about like the first time I ever actually lost weight, like when I was trying to lose weight. I think I was maybe like after the Dexatrim. I think I was maybe going into my junior year of high school.
Okay.
And I don't know why I decided, because now I see pictures of me and I'm like, I didn't need to lose. I was fine.
Yes.
It's fine. Why was I so upset with how I looked? I looked
We're
fine.
just programmed in that.
But what
Yeah.
I did, the diet that I used, I think I made it up myself, and it was the banana and cornflakes diet. I don't know if you've ever tried this one,
I
but
think you did
I would
make that up.
I would like measure out, and I would have cornflakes, like, and if you measure it out, usually I'd have like a heaping bowl, like brimming over.
Okay.
Well, that was probably about 4 servings. I never looked at what a serving size was, and
Probably a cup.
and it was like three-fourths of a cup.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it was so sad.
It's a ridiculous
so
amount.
When I measured it and put it in, I was like, oh no, this was what I was supposed to be eating all these years, because I had multiplied that by at least 4. So I would have 3, breakfast, lunch, dinner would be cornflakes.
Right.
And then like snack in the middle might be banana. And I think I also threw in some popsicles if I really
Nice.
got a craving for
needed a
something
sweet.
sweet.
Yes.
And I did. I lost a lot of weight that I didn't need to lose. And then I gained it all back when I decided I couldn't possibly eat cornflakes.
And bananas.
Well,
and
I don't know why you
bananas.
couldn't. One that came to mind when I was looking at it was the cabbage soup diet.
Did you do
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Oh, of course I did. And let me tell you, I hate cooked cabbage. Do you know how you lose weight on the cabbage soup diet? Let
You
me
just
tell
don't
you.
eat?
No, it
Goes right through you.
goes right through you.
'Cause
That's
that
how you
started
lose
out
weight.
as a heart diet.
You
Like,
dehydrate yourself is what you do.
yeah, that's my father-in-law who had congestive heart failure and heart disease. That
Yeah.
is a standard when you've had your open heart surgery or before you have surgery or whatever, that they put you on that diet.
Yeah, well, it's
because
horrible.
you lose your water weight and it goes right through you.
Yep. There was the Mayo Clinic diet. That was big back in the day. I don't even know what that was.
I remember seeing the books.
Yeah.
I don't know what the diet was, but I do remember seeing the books.
I'm just trying to think of other diets that we came up with. When we were talking about it, one of my aunts, we laughed because her diet was chewing chocolate and then spitting it in the sink. Like whatever it was she would chew
Yeah.
it and then spit it
Bulimia.
out. Yeah, but the people did that, and it was
that's wasteful. I wouldn't have done
normalized.
that.
It was
Yeah.
normalized. Let me think here. Metabolife.
Yeah, I remember
That was another legal speed. Did I mention the phentermine?
Phentermine?
Yeah.
Yep.
When I was in college, I know it was phentermine that was sold at this little convenience store that had like records and stuff on campus, and it was at the register, and it was like $4, and everyone went through and bought it like when they were checking out in the candy bar section. I know that's what it was, and I mean, I don't know,
So-
but I'm pretty sure. And it helped you not be hungry.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So it was like, because
Yes.
wasn't Fen-Phen the medication that
Yes.
came
and
out?
it was one of the Phens.
It's one of the Phens of the Fen-Phen.
Yeah, that's
Didn't Herbalife? Didn't they get in a bunch of trouble? What there was a diet
Probably.
powder or whatever that had that kind of stuff in it that was causing people to have heart attacks.
well, yeah, and that's what Fen had to be taken off the market.
Yeah,
because of
and
heart
sure
attacks.
that wasn't Herbalife. Yeah, I
So-
remember.
But really, the sad thing is, I could have known all of that. But if you would have told me if I take that, I'll lose weight, I would have risked a heart attack to do it.
Well, that hurts me. Although I would have done the same thing, so I don't know. Why
I would have been like,
saying
oh,
hurt
it
me.
won't
My
hap- it
anxiety
won't
would
happen
have
to
stopped me from that. I'm too much of a scaredy cat.
I just wanted the magic pill, and if they said take it,
Like, okay.
just hope you don't have a heart attack, I'd say okay.
But see, like someone like me who is more substantially overweight, and then seeing someone like you that I don't know that I've ever seen really substantially overweight, I'm shocked that is your way of thinking. And I'll come back to this other thought I had, but since I'm saying this, I'll say
Yes.
that I don't know what you call what I have. I think it might be some sort of reverse anorexia because I don't see myself as fat in the mirror as I am when I see a photo. Like when I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, that kind of looks cute. I'll do that, whatever. And then I see a picture like from an event or whatever, and I'm like, who the hell is that person wearing my clothes? Like, what even is
Well-
that? I do not see that when I look in the mirror. I mean, And I guess it's a good thing because I'm
No,
not
it
like,
is a good thing.
And it's not like I think I'm skinny. Like I know that I'm overweight, but what I see versus what I know the scale says and what I look like in pictures, those things are
Pictures
not
are
all,
cruel.
They
I
are.
hate
But all of
getting
those things are
I hate
not
looking
like
at pictures
in
of
sync
myself.
in my mind or in reality. So I don't know what that's called, but that's what I have. Hate to be technical.
I think everybody needs the reverse of
Yes.
of anorexia. I think that would be great. One of the fads that this wasn't necessarily a diet fad, but it was kind of an exercise fad that I recall when I was around the Dexatrim age. So I'm going to say I was maybe third, might have been a little bit younger, so maybe third grade. Is that my mom had one of those machines that it was like a big thing, and you stood and you put this cloth like belt around
Oh my
your
God.
waist,
Did she
and you
have
turned
that
a
and it
knob,
shook her?
and it shook you around, and that was supposed to
Okay, I'm not.
shake the fat off. I have no idea.
I mean, it was
Let me
because they
say,
have the things you can
it
put
did
around
do
your stomach.
something. I don't think it
It
was
made
a
my
great,
skin itch.
Yeah. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever, but I do think that it burns something.
Did it mimic exercising?
It probably
Yes.
does mimic
A small amount, probably, but
Yeah.
yes. I think Jack LaLanne used to advertise that like in the 50s or 60s.
Well,
I think he was an early pioneer in the exercise. I mean, like in the 50s, I was looking up things, and people in the 40s and 50s, they did not exercise.
No.
Like that was not part of their day. Where now so many people, that's their lifestyle or their identity.
Well, back
People
then,
went to work.
I think back then
Things
were
they came
hard.
home and they were tired.
they ate naturally.
yes.
They ate from their garden.
Yes.
They probably walked a heck of a lot more.
Yes.
I just
They
don't
didn't
think
sit.
you could go to different, like in Italy. I mean, they're little.
Yeah.
They're little people, and like someplace like Rome, where I visited there, my brother was there. They don't have the ability to go to a Walmart and go to fast food and go. You can find it, but they don't do that.
No.
They eat fresh.
Yes. And I don't know how we go back to that. But what we're doing is not working. And I see our kids only moving less because that's what
That's our
technology
culture.
is putting us towards.
You're right.
So I don't know what the answer is. Although our kids, their body culture is very different than ours.
Yes, it is.
I get called a body shamer by one of my kids who shall remain nameless. I don't mean
I
it
do
to
too.
be, but like Lizzo
Yes.
and the Yitty brand, her brand. I'll give her a shout out for those who want to know. Good for her. Good for her for making the money. Good for her for liking herself. I am all for all of that. And do I know that she's not healthy because of her size? Absolutely not. I am not her doctor and I don't know anything about it. But the way I was raised, she needs to lose weight because that's how my programmed mind thinks.
But my program mind thinks not just that she needs to lose weight, but my mind thinks she needs to cover up.
Yes. That's my
And
mind
that's-
too, and
and
I think that is a product of our age.
I am such a prude, but I'm like, because I just personally feel like when I was that young, if I would have been that size, and I wasn't, I still wouldn't have shown that much skin ever.
Ever.
Even
But
if
then-
I could have, I didn't.
But then do you feel the same about someone who's so small? And be honest.
What, that shows too much skin?
Yeah.
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 Like, okay.
I do.
All right, let me
Oh, I
ask
do.
this. Let me ask this. A small person in a bikini,
If the bikini's flattering, it's fine.
what do you mean flattering? Because does that mean the big person can't wear a bikini? I'm probably putting you in a corner that you don't want to be in. Because I think the same time
I think I
sometimes.
body shame, and I'll admit
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I do.
Because if it's covering the nipples and it's
Yeah.
covering the crack, I don't know if I can say those two words.
Well, you just did.
But if it's covering those
Yeah.
areas,
It's
then you think that person is covered. So if a bunch of extra flesh is showing because that person is bigger,
No, it is. Yeah. I mean,
It
it
just
is.
makes me
they're
uncomfortable.
still covered.
It is. It
makes you uncomfortable because
because I think if it was me, I would cover myself up.
Like-
there's a way
Yeah.
where
I think
Yeah.
I'm being judgy.
oh yeah.
I just think there's a way to wear a swimming suit if you're not, the picture of health.
Okay,
that-
but we don't
that-
know. We don't know if they're the picture of health. We don't know their health. Just like you don't know a skinny person is healthy. They could be anorexic, but they're thin, so you're judging their health based on their appearance. So you can't use health. You have to go back to appearance.
Okay, so let's go to
I'm
appearance.
being one of our kids, and I'm calling
no,
you
really,
back.
because I have a problem with it. I'm like, part of me thinks good for them. Like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, they have
that
more
they-
self.
They have more self-confidence than I'll ever
someone
have.
to look at me in a bathing suit. Go,
Good for her.
fatty's out at the pool.
Yeah, I just am. I think
Sorry.
I just think
I'm really judgy, and I'm judgy with the skinnies too. I am. Like, I just think, so, like,
Judgy-
come on, be a
it's
little
just-
bit. And then my husband would say, "Oh, if you look like that, you'd flaunt it. You know, like if you were that age, if you were this." I don't know. I don't know if I would do that or not.
Right.
I'm not a prude by any means.
I am.
I'm well, okay.
But you're
I
not.
am.
You are, but you're not, because
I mean,
you love everybody. You're not a judgy person.
Yeah,
like
I'm
that.
really, but I am. I'm a my daughters have dressed certain ways, and I'm like, hello.
Yeah, you see a picture on Instagram and you're like, oh my
I
gosh,
did recently.
what are you doing?
And I worry more about it as being a target, as it
Inviting something
inviting trouble. I get that that's how they dress. I
Okay.
get that they're doing it because they want to be stared at.
And I will say, again, on behalf of our daughters who are raised in a different time than us, inviting trouble is not a thing. If someone,
I know
it
you're
is
right.
not the fault of the victim.
No, it's
ever.
not,
So
but-
you're not inviting trouble. I know. I'm just saying how they see it differently than how we were
They
raised.
do.
When we were raised, if you went out, quote, looking for trouble, dressed like that,
that showing cleavage and
Well, guess what?
legs and yeah.
I could go out in pasties and a thong, and if someone were to assault me in some way, that's not my fault.
No, I'm not
No.
saying assault. I'm just saying.
I'm saying inviting trouble. So I'm saying in that sense, if we're saying that, that's not the girl's fault. So
No.
we have to, but it's very hard for us to get that in our minds, because in my mind, I would think, well, what were you doing? Going out like that. You know
I
what
wouldn't
I mean?
blame at
But it's
all.
still
I
the
just
guy's
think I-
fault on
I
that.
watch
Or the
enough-
person, guy, girl, whatever.
I watch enough crime. I think that I just am more aware. You're right. I'm like put in a corner because you really don't. They can dress like that, and if they were attacked, it is absolutely not their fault that they were attacked. But if it wasn't my daughter and I saw a story and I saw how she was dressed and that she got in the wrong Uber and then she was like killed that night, I'd
Yeah.
be thinking, well, son of a gun, don't go out. Look.
Yeah.
But it's not their fault. It's
I
just
know.
your automatic sense of being judgmental.
So I do think it will change with this next generation, like of the people that are our kids' age, the way of thinking anyway.
I want it to.
I don't know that the occurrences will change, but the way of thinking I feel like will change, because they do see it very differently than we do.
Would they dress like that as much if they didn't have Snapchat? If they didn't have the need to put themselves out there and want everybody to see? I mean, a lot of these girls take these pictures and then they filter the heck out of them and, cut off a little bit of their arm and tuck in a little bit of their waist. Would they feel the need to be so provocative if there wasn't this need to be seen?
Well, I just think even if there wasn't social media, people that want to be seen, like in our day, were the people that wore
wore the cutoffs.
outfits that said, oh my God, look at that girl. Like there were look at me outfits. And like if you wore them, I'm not saying they were going to be attacked or anything, but if you walked out of the house looking that way, you damn sure knew you were doing it on purpose, and you damn sure knew you were going to get male attention,
and
whether
maybe
it's
some
good or
unwanted
bad.
attention.
Right.
So I guess, and I think girls that need attention, I don't think social media is, it's a vehicle to get a lot of it quickly,
Yep.
but I don't think it has much. I think the people that need the attention, regardless of social media or not, are going to
Yeah, that's true.
be out there.
That's true. I mean, I'm not
getting it.
blaming.
No, but
because there's always been
but it's
different
just another
eras
tool.
of, people dressing provocatively.
Yeah,
I think we have to kind of remind ourselves too, we're older.
we're old.
And you think that your mom used to say, you can't wear that, that's too short, or you can't wear that, that's too tight. And I'm never going to be like that. I'm never going to. And then when it's your own child, it's different. And, and who's kidding who? We live in a world where a form of entertainment is to be judgy and to talk about people and to, oh my God, look at them. And oh my God, look at them. And I'm not proud of that, but I think it's human nature to some extent. I'm not making any excuses, but
Is human nature changing though through the times? Because
think
if our
it-
kids
I
are they
think it
going to
is.
still be the same way? Will it be different? I don't know. I'm asking questions.
Well-
I don't know the answer.
Well, I hope it is, because I just think a lot of the judginess that I have always felt toward other people was part jealousy, because if I
Yes.
saw somebody going out and they
Yeah.
were showing a lot of skin but they looked good and they were confident about it, I think I was judging more the fact that I didn't have the confidence to
too.
pull that off.
Yep.
or I'm not going to have.
And I still don't.
And I wouldn't have admitted that until about age 53
Me too.
and a
Yesterday?
half. Yeah,
Yeah.
today.
But
So
why am I not getting the attention? Why isn't that guy talking to me? Why does this friend always get all? And it's confidence.
yeah.
Well, then our girls are going to be very confident young ladies, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Because they're not confidence haters like we are.
We're just
I
horrible.
think they still, but they are a whole lot more accepting.
Yes.
Yes.
This generation is way more inclusive.
I think they are judging on character, which
Yeah.
I am totally
Yeah.
fine with.
Yeah, I do too.
I can't say don't judge at all. Come on.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I want to talk about some more diet things that
Yes.
I did along the way. The grapefruit diet. How many times did I eat a grapefruit and think this is going to burn so much fat?
This is it.
This is it. Because like that thing came through every now and then that would be the big thing. We were laughing. My sister still has one of those plastic sauna suits.
Oh my God. No, she
like-
doesn't.
Yes. The
Like she's trying to
silver-
make weight.
She has the original
my gosh.
sauna suit. The
Oh
silver
my-
one.
yes.
With the elastic everywhere.
Yes.
And you used to see like the wrestlers jog in them to try to drop
Yes.
12 pounds in a day. But that would also work if you had going out on something. There was a boiled egg diet. All of these things like aren't horrible necessarily in and of themselves. Like grapefruit might be one of those negative foods that you actually burn energy eating.
It's like a
I
fun
don't
house.
know.
It's so acidic.
Or
Maybe
like
it like just eats at
boiled
your
egg
fat.
diet, you would eat like a bunch of eggs, but like protein being a part of your diet
Yeah.
is good. So that's a good thing to take out of it.
It's almost like they just dumbed it down so hard so people would want to do it. Like it's so easy. You don't have to do anything but boil a bunch of eggs.
You get
and
so
eat
sucked
them.
in the
really-
before and afters.
Oh,
I mean,
please.
you just get sucked into it.
One of my cousins was saying that in the 90s, everything was no fat. So
Oh, yeah.
fat was so horrible. So they would get a bagel and hollow it out and then later eat angel hair pasta for dinner.
No wonder I was
Like
huge.
carving
Yeah.
it out because
Yeah.
fat was bad and carbs were good. And now a lot of people do keto where carbs are bad and fat is good. And I have another person that I know and love who is doing intermittent fasting. And she said basically she's not snacking. So it's not rocket science. She's eating better.
Eating
and
actual meals.
Actual meals. Because she knows that she can't snack later. So she's kind of planning more her meals and being
gotta-
more,
Yeah.
what do you call that when you're
Mindful.
Thank you. Mindful eating.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we're talking about that. Like I have in the past tried Weight Watchers back when it was called that, and when my mind when I was dedicated to it, when I was really into it, I lost maybe like 20 pounds, and that was right after I had kids, and I felt okay, and then with kids, it's just counting the points and whatever. I was like, I can't do this my entire life.
Right. It gets
And then
exhausting.
it just kind of ebbs and flows. And when it was gone, and the 20 pounds were back plus that. But recently, when I did lose weight recently, it was with Noom.
Yes.
And the reason that worked for me was because I was ready to do it. Like I was,
Yeah, you
it's
have-
like you have to
that
hit
is
rock bottom.
You explain what that is for the listeners who might not know.
It's just your
an app.
mindset.
It's an app.
Oh, Noom. I thought you wanted me to explain what rock bottom was. I'm like, I am about ready to tell you.
Have a seat.
This is going to be good. No, Noom it's basically, it probably counts it different ways, but it's basically Weight Watchers. It kind of tells you like 3 categories of food and how much a percentage of your daily intake should be of each color. And it's basically limit the carbs, fats are good, moderate amount, and then you can have all like the protein and the fruits and vegetables that you want. So it's nothing new, but the other part of it is the psychological part. And that is what I needed, because I never ate because I was hungry. I was just eating for every other reason,
I say I haven't been hungry since like 1975.
I've never been hungry.
So I have no idea what that sensation feels like.
Yeah. So what the very first day of Noom, they told you not to eat until you actually felt hungry. I'm like, well, that's a fun experiment.
I'm hungry all the time.
You're actually hungry?
Yes. I wake up starving.
Weird.
But I'm constantly thinking about food.
But you also...
all the time.
I've known you for 15 years. I don't know how long, so I'm going to say 15. I've never known you to be overweight.
Yeah.
I'm the heaviest I've ever been.
I don't see it.
And I don't see it. So like, give me a pounds more than your average.
Okay, so...
or percentage.
I
You don't have to tell me
uncomfortable
pounds.
talking about the fact that I was one of those girls that was I was underweight.
Right.
And it was...
I'm not going to judge you.
And
Go on.
I just did.
Weight was just never talked about in my house, at all. My mom was very average. She wasn't super skinny, but she wasn't big. She was tall, and that worked for her. So my big thing was I had, and not that it kept me up at night, but I had a lot of insecurity about why I didn't weigh enough. I looked childlike when I shouldn't have. But when I hit about 45, and I'm struggling heavily with it now.
Really?
About 10 years ago, I lost 30 pounds through Weight Watchers. And I think Weight Watchers is a great program. I don't think it's meant to starve you. It's meant to be smart about what you're putting in. You're not restricted on what you can eat. It's just how much you eat. And I had a lot of success. Well, in the past 10 years, I put on that 30 pounds plus, and I'm at this point where I'm at my low now, where as far as I have no energy, I have no motivation, I'm menopausal, and that's not an excuse by any means, but my body's changing and it's different, and I'm carrying my weight. And my biggest thing I'm struggling with is why I need to be more active and I need to be healthier and I need to make better choices with food, but why am I letting it bother me as much as I'm letting it bother me?
Right.
Really feeling lousy about myself.
And I mean, when I tell you that I see no difference in you through the years, when I look at you now, I do not see a physical difference at all from the day I met you to now.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I know. So I'm telling you, for what you see, it's different than maybe what other people see.
It's true.
Yeah, and it is. And it's just the way clothes fit. It's the way I look in a picture. It's the way, and it's a very love-hate relationship because I shouldn't be that way.
Well,
Yeah.
and
I was never my parents weren't like that with me.
Right.
It's because I'm not at my healthiest and I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one thing that I liked about the Noom was a lot of the lessons were about how you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
And the stories or the lies maybe you had been telling yourself over the years that only you think, and that nobody else does. Kind of like how you feel.
Yeah, it's really what I feel like. I'm 51. I'm married. I'm not out there looking for a hot man. I'm not out there
Because Joe is.
And I really don't think that the people I hang around with and my family and friends, I don't feel judged. I
Right.
don't feel it's all internal.
Yeah.
And back to I am hungry 24/7. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
And I love food. And I'm not a big snacker, but I make really unhealthy choice. I could eat wonderful. I always think if I was independently wealthy and I have a private chef, I love good food.
And that is a difference.
Healthy, good food.
Right.
But I never used to be one that believed that all the ingredients that they put in all this crap is addictive. It absolutely is addictive.
Of course it is.
Because when you go through a McDonald's drive-through and I make myself feel better by getting a Happy Meal, who cares? It's still crap. You feel good after you eat it.
Oh, yes.
Or when you're eating it.
Yes.
It feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Well, okay. So when we were talking about this, I was trying to decide whether or not I was going to discuss whether or not I am currently taking what's it called? The medicine is called Mounjaro, and it is an injectable for pre-diabetes, or it's used for diabetes and it's being approved for pre. I'm using it. My doctor prescribed it, my endocrinologist. I've been on it for 6 months, and A lot of the stars are now taking it. I did not know that when I took it. I was just taking what she told me we should take because I was gaining weight and there was not a lot of reason for it and not a lot of change. I've lost 53 pounds, but I will tell you that I don't feel a lot different, and I thought I would. Now, I still have a substantial amount to lose, so maybe I will start feeling a lot better, a lot different. I didn't hate myself then. And I don't love myself now like that. That 53 pounds, it didn't change much of how I see that. I have not bought any new clothes, which is funny. Like I'm still wearing the same clothes. I'm like, how the hell did I get those jeans to buckle before? And like now, if I wear them like the second day, then they kind of fall off without unzipping them. But I'm still wearing the same clothes. That's a substantial amount of weight for it to not be that big of a difference. I don't really understand how it works, but I will tell you that, so the best part about this medication, and this is what, it's being studied, it's a Lilly drug, and it is being studied for the use with addiction of different things. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's being studied for a lot of things, but a lot of the people who are taking it say that it turns off the food noise in your head. And the best way I can explain that is like to tell you that for the majority of my life, I ate chocolate almost every single day. And I didn't, even though I was overweight, I did not deprive myself. I liked chocolate. I wanted chocolate and I ate it every day. Now in the past 6 months, I've maybe eaten chocolate 3 times. Like my mind just doesn't think about it.
Doesn't crave it.
My mind doesn't think about what I'm going to eat. Prior to the medication, I could be eating breakfast and think about what I'm going to eat at dinner. Not because I'm hungry, because my brain is just thinking, what are you going to eat? Like that. That is how my brain was wired to think. Where now I'm like, oh, I know I have to eat. I've only had 400 calories. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I have to eat something. Nothing sounds good.
So it kind of turns off the receptors in the brain. It
totally turns off the receptors. That is exactly what they're studying, is how it turns off these receptors. So, to say I was a food addict, yeah. I mean,
sugar.
Yeah, sugar.
Oh, yeah.
So all of and I don't know what else, was in those foods that make me want them.
Yeah.
Did I eat vegetables and like them? Of course I did. As much as potato chips? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it. It's given some side effects that I don't love. So I'm trying to decide, if I'm going to stay on it. I obviously have more weight to lose, so I probably will stay on it at least a little bit longer. But I thought I would feel so much better. And so the weight is part of it, but the weight's not all of it.
I was going to say that's a perfect example because 53 pounds is a lot of weight.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example.
Did you bring a wagon?
I have a wagon. if you'll let me step over it, I'm going to pull it across the stage of our podcast right now.
That's a perfect example is like, when is it enough?
Yeah.
Because the majority of it is like what you said with Noom. It's psychological.
Right.
It's what you feel and what are... you can talk just like, what are your past traumas? What is your childhood? All this stuff that just makes up who you are. Why,
And I will say my neurologist, because I have back and nerve issues and different things. And she said, just so you know, because I was telling her I was jazzed about losing. I'd lost 40 pounds, I think, last time I saw her. And she said, just so you know, losing the weight is not going to fix what the damage that's done with your nerves. You're still going to have arthritis. Like those things are still going to happen. And I was like, well, that's rude. No, she wasn't being rude, but it's true. It didn't fix everything. I thought it would make it substantially better, and it hasn't.
I would have thought that
so
too.
That's disappointing. Yeah. But that being said, I'm thinner in the face. So if you see my profile pic, I look good. I'm just kidding.
No, you really do.
Okay.
So that has worked for you so far.
So far.
It's a work in progress.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about some other things that have worked for us, either diet, exercise, mindset, whatever. Kim, do you have anything that you do religiously?
I just know, like when we talked about, I clean houses every day. And when I first started doing that, my weight was falling off. And that was right around the time where I gave up regular Cokes and went to diet, which it's not, now I'm just drinking
which
poison.
Also horrible.
But anyways, and I did, but your body gets used to it. You have to trick your body into, so like I clean and I burn calories, but nothing changes. It's like that's what's so exhausting to me is like, if I want to lose weight, I've got to step it up, because as we get older, and I've read a lot about it, in your 50s and when you're menopausal or perimenopausal, it's more important to do strength training than it is to do cardio. That as
But
far
isn't
as
that
losing,
totally different than what we
yes,
were
and I
told?
hate strength training. I hate it.
Oh,
I
I love it.
I know you do, and I'm complete opposite. Put me in like an aerobics class. You know,
Really?
like I don't like, because
Let's talk
I'm
about the
so
fact that we
weak
took-
that it's hard to build up. Like, I mean, I'm just a wimp, and
I
would
promise your muscles will get
I
stronger.
know, but it's mindset. I mean, that's what's worked for me. Honestly, slow and steady. Like Weight Watchers, how much do you want to lose a week? And I put the minimum like 0.5 pounds. You know, like it took, but you know what? It adds. Look how fast a month goes. If you're dropping 3 pounds a month, at the end of 6 months, you're 18 pounds down. So you have to just be patient, and
Well,
Which is
we're not
something-
good at
which
that in
is-
America.
No.
and being more active.
Can you imagine? You know that we have people in a lot of countries that listen to our podcast, which is hilarious.
Oh,
by
and their
itself.
culture with weight is so.
But,
I mean,
can you imagine the other countries trying to process what we're saying right now?
I know.
Like, I bet some people are like thinking we're insane that we even spent this much time talking about weight
know.
or
I
food
know.
or diet, because it is not a part of their culture at all. It is,
They're lucky.
you know, it is so inherently part of ours,
yes.
and it's crazy. I want to acknowledge that we took a hip hop class back in
Well, you know, I'm sure that's
the mid '90s. When was that? Early 2000s? I don't even know
early
what it was.
It was
and
early
that
2000s.
was a blast.
We went to the YMCA, the three of us. It was a group class. It was free. No charge for that class.
No charge. Okay,
If you recall, the instructor could flat out dance.
She was from Long Beach, and she went to high school with Snoop Dogg.
So
Remember
that
Yep.
yeah.
She had-
How do you remember that? That's
Because
bizarre.
it was
Because I
good.
was like, "You're my hero." No, because I think I just remember. First of all, she was. I love a good dancer. I love somebody that can dance, like, you know. And
Yeah.
she was very fun. I went there more for
I feel
her
like
to watch her dance.
My memory makes me think that we did really well, though. Did we not?
I stood in the back away from a mirror, but yes, I did good.
I don't know how I did because I never looked at me.
neither.
I was watching her.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was doing exactly what she was doing.
Oh, yeah.
But there were several moves. I know it's hard to imagine, but there were several combos that I was never going to pick up on, no matter how many times she repeated it or slowed it down. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we kind of killed that hip hop class. I don't know if it's just coincidence, but they don't offer it anymore.
I was
They
going to
do
ask. Can
offer
we
it
get back
at the downtown Y, and I don't know who teaches it, but I've heard
Okay.
people talk about it. When I lost weight 10 years ago,
Yeah.
Zumba was all the rage. And I went to Zumba 3 or 4 days a week, and I love
One of my sisters loved Zumba.
Baby. They don't offer it near as much as the Y. I think they offer a couple days a week, but I'm telling you what, that was one of the funnest exercise classes I've ever. I loved Zumba.
Give me some good music, and
Yeah.
it kind of went. It
Yeah.
would go faster.
So you work out every day, or
I do not.
Okay. What do you do?
I do not.
I
Work
made
out.
that up.
You did make that up. I'm kind of between schedules. I'm kind of mixing things up, but usually 3 times a week.
And do what? Weight training or an aerobics or what?
Like a weight training class. At the Y, they have a thing called Body Pump, which is like one of those Les Mills classes, but it's basically
Is it like strength and endurance? Like strength, but a little bit of cardio mixed in a little bit.
not really. It's
Oh,
just
it's
pretty much
mostly
strength. It's just strength.
My worst nightmare.
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found that exercise has less to do with weight loss for me as it does just kind of
Makes
to
you
make
feel
my
good.
mind, like, it helps my mood more than it helps me lose weight.
Okay.
I think weight loss for me is strictly what I'm eating.
Definitely.
and how much water I'm drinking.
It's
Well,
studies.
that's-
It's like 75% of losing weight is what you eat.
Yes.
It's not exercising.
Yeah,
It-
because it takes like however much to burn
Yep.
200 calories
Yeah.
versus taking off the top bun and a piece of cheese
Yep.
on your cheeseburger
Yeah.
to get rid of 200 calories. I mean, you know, you can
No, it's-
never, you can, what is the saying? You can never out exercise overeating or something. There's some saying like that.
That's depressing.
you can't get mentally feel those endorphins that
Right.
that you release. You can't
Right.
get that from just cutting back on food.
You're right.
So
and
you're right.
so I've found that drinking more water works. I hate water. I drink it as a game. I put it in like a big water bottle. And if I go out in the car, I say, okay, by the time I get home from whatever errand I'm running, this has to be gone.
You don't
and
play fun games, but go on.
yeah, this game is not fun, but I'm like, I get to the 4-way stop right before my house and I thought, chug. And then
You pee all night.
Yes. So I find that works. I find tracking what I
Yes.
eat works because
You're mindful.
little did I know that I used to just walk through and throw things in my mouth. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
stupid.
Yes.
Without even realizing I was eating.
Although in the past, I will admit now to lying on my food tracking that I was the only one looking
really?
at.
Oh, yeah, I would fudge
Yes,
every once in a
I
while. I
would.
don't know why. I think
Yeah.
it just temporarily
Yeah.
made me feel good.
Yeah, I was lying to myself. I
Yeah.
was like, no, I did not put those chips on there when I sure ate them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that worked.
It really worked. for
Lying
me.
works. So,
Yeah.
yes, by all means,
When
lie.
in doubt.
So, yeah, those are the things that work for me. You got to plan and write things down and drink a lot of water. And that's
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
So our takeaway for our girls is drink water, and our boys drink water. 'Cause
Yes.
men have eating issues as much as women, and I should not have.
Absolutely.
I should
Absolutely.
not have said that. Which, okay, I was trying to sign off, but then I'm going to say a lot of men in their 50s are really struggling with their weight right now, and I think it's a problem that has not been in the past. Women always have had that issue, but some men right now are struggling, and it's probably because of the culture change over
It
the
is,
last,
yeah.
coming up at the same time as us.
Right.
But being overweight, and they're not handling it well emotionally.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's a
that I-
thing. Okay. So anyway, drink water.
Yes.
What else?
Exercise at least 3 or 4 times a week just for the
Just move
for the mental health benefit of it all.
and be mindful of what you're eating. And if that means tracking, I think tracking is the best way. And it is a pain, and it is, but you pay attention to what you eat.
Yeah.
So
There is a free version of an app called Carb Manager, and it's not only for people that are eating low carb, because you can put whatever you want in
Yeah.
it, and it has a good breakdown of calories and stuff. And if you just use the free version, you don't have
yeah,
to pay.
MyFitnessPal's free.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that can
So there
that's
are
a
free
really
apps
good app.
that are good for that.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I wish I could tell somebody that there was just a magic something and in one day you could undo a lifetime of bad decisions.
Yes.
But unfortunately that's not the
And
way
it gets
works.
harder as you age.
Right.
I mean,
look
it
forward to that.
just naturally does. So
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Well, I think we've covered it all.
Let's go
then.
eat.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think we
Okay.
really
Can we
covered it all.
celebrate with a piece of cake? Thank you so much for joining us today on Up for Grabs. If there's a tip or trick or diet or exercise, something that you found that has worked for you, we'd love to hear about it. And if not, we just think that it's great that we're all trying to live our most healthy life possible. It's all about the effort, really,
Yep.
when it comes right down to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time on Up for Grabs.